Epik Mellon podcast. Conversations with the real humans behind broadband networks, cybersecurity, and the future of communications. Brought to you by QA Cafe. Good morning, good afternoon, good everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Epik Mellon podcast. I say another episode, but so you're not supposed, if you take a break, you're not supposed to like talk about the fact that you didn't do one in a while. But I was on vacation for like 2 weeks for the holidays, and like I didn't really have anything in December. So Eric, you are the first person of the new year, and the first person in a little while to be on the show. So I don't even know what episode number it is. That's great.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is our first episode of the new year, and I have Eric Van Uden from Fritz, formerly AVM, if any of you are familiar with that. And Fritzbox is one of the most popular networking products in Europe. And I like to think that part of it. We'll talk about this, but I like to think that part of it is because of the way that it has been branded and advertised by you guys. In particular, the day that I met you, which I'll talk about in a minute. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, as always, this podcast is brought to you by my employers at QA Cafe, and therefore the opinions reflected by myself, the opinions expressed by myself or Eric do not reflect those of QA Cafe or its ownership, and the same definitely goes for Fritz, even though you are the unofficial spokesperson of the entire company. I hear you know.
International.
And as it is brought to you by QA Cafe, it is brought to you by our three great products at QA Cafe. The first being CD Router, the industry standard test platform for broadband gateways, Wi-Fi devices, and other customer premises equipment, with over 10,000 test cases generated by the experts in that room over there, with full automation that works with your CI/CD systems and helps you build and deploy better products overall. The second being CloudShark Enterprise, which is the way to deploy packet analysis solutions to your entire enterprise in a way that kind of more fits the model of what people need at that level out of that. You can spin up any number of CloudShark instances as you need. It lets you handle very large captures quickly, easily, split them up automatically, work with your teams, work across global teams, letting them all analyze the same data at the same time, and get rid of it at the end of the day if it's super secure. And lastly, Packet Viewer, which is actually the power behind CloudShark, which is now implemented by many different cloud managed networking and cybersecurity products out there that lets you embed Wireshark directly into your product to give your customers the evidence they need to know that something actually happened, and also make it easier for newbies to be able to access packet captures. You can find out more about CD Router, CloudShark Enterprise, and Packet Viewer at www.qacafe.com. Oh, it's a little rusty, but I still got it.
I'm proud of you, Jason. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, how are you? Happy New Year.
Thanks to you all. Same.
Yeah. So I've known Eric for, oh my goodness. I met you at the back when it was still UFB, the ultra fast broadband something that TNO used to do, and we're all advertising. And I distinctly remember my first memory of Eric is I remember you giving, because we all were able to give like 2-minute pitches of our products. And the Fritzbox one was just on point and hilarious. It was so great.
Yeah, that is always this story is always let's say it following, but let's let's be honest. If you compare, so if you have 2 minute sales pitch, then you don't start to tell your audience that you are raised in 2020 whatsoever and that
No
you have.
exposition whatsoever.
It is not relevant at all. And in this case, as sales pitch, it's all in the name. It's a pitch, and you do it right, and you use one product and you sell it. That's the sales pitch.
I love
So
it.
I was a little bit surprised that some other vendors had another opinion about what's a sales pitch.
I know, right? Well, no, but here's the thing, though, and especially when we go to meetings like that, like the people thrown into that scenario, probably aren't always the people who were like ready to do that. Um, but like and this is an interesting imposter syndrome story, right? It's like what I've realized is that most people aren't good at things, you know. And that's I say that because that's okay, right? Right? You have to understand, like, almost everybody is green about something somewhere. So it was very sobering. Anyway, that whole process inspired me, and it's a reason why there's an exclamation point in the name, right? Because it's
Yeah,
very expressive.
be there. That's okay.
Uh,
May I tell some words because I can imagine that because you're doing this international and we are a European brand, so you can't find it
yeah,
probably in the US or whatsoever. So give you an idea, we are a European vendor with development in the beautiful city of Berlin, Germany. Production completely done in Europe, so we're using subcontractors who produce our products. We are shipping routers and accessories for the for in-home, like Wi-Fi, power line, and all the stuff. Mainly to the European market. We have some overseas business, but yeah, sorry guys, not US, and not America at all, and even not the southern part. It has historical reasons. Um, but we're very strong in Europe. So a strong company, 960, more or less 960 people, most of them
yeah, I didn't know that.
in Berlin. Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
it,
that's sizable.
that's sizable, and
Yeah,
with some local offices in Austria, Italy, Benelux, and then you have again our strong countries. Working on more countries, of course. But at this moment, this Austria, Swiss, the DACH, that's how they call it in Germany. DACH is Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Italy, Benelux,
right, right, right,
UK building up, Scandinavian building up, and all those stuff. So that's a
right.
little bit what we do.
And even to the degree that you guys have partners that build parts of the process for you. Fritz has been fairly, I don't want to say vertically integrated because that has negative connotations, but what has set you guys apart, I think, from a sizable part, a sizable piece of the rest of the CPE industry is that you do have control over most of the process, right? Which which is shifting nowadays, right? Right, with open source and all this, for good or for ill. We've talked about that a bunch. But that experience, I feel like, has always been fairly cool, and you guys have had a good grasp of that for a pretty long time.
Yeah, that's important, Jason. If you look what we do, so of course, and you compare, there's an advantage and a disadvantage. Don't misunderstand me. If you compare us what we do, that we develop all the stuff completely, mostly completely by ourselves. Let's say it this way. So imagine you have let's say on the layer one on that may be more relevant on the, still relevant in Germany on the DSL technologies.
Yeah.
Uh, that's most of the case. That's our stack. So we developed the whole stack for DSL. So on both standards, on NXA and NXB, for DSL and VDSL, same story. If you go above, exactly the same story. The whole IP stack. We don't use the standard Linux stack. Of course, all the Fritz boxes are based on Linux, but we built our own IP stack, and we built our own routing engine. And again, this is an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that we have everything by ourselves under control, so we can adapt the products very good to the technologies. So let's say from the outside world, in this case, XCS panels as common standard on fiber, and the inside world in Wi-Fi 7, or in the future even the upcoming technology like Wi-Fi 8. This is all in home. And let's say that it's all in home. But we build it
Right,
in
right.
home. And the disadvantage is that if you see there is a partner, a business partner, and I say, I have a very nice software solution, and you only have to adapt it in your software, and then there's always, no, not possible, because we don't use the standard routing engine. We don't use, and they all are porting to those engines, so it's not possible.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
and if you look to the common not to the common, but if you look to the current situation, in most cases, there is no need for that because we have USB TR369.
I
So
almost
there is.
wore the shirt today, but I figured it was the
yeah,
first one I've done in a
yeah,
while.
okay. You have the QA cafe. So I should wear my AVM shirt. But anyway, so a Fritz shirt. Sorry, yeah, still in mind. Um, so that's what we do. So we're using those standards. So those interfacings, in this case of USP, to let external things communicate to our box, or we send out information and
Right.
so on. So, and with this, and we see it as well on the broadband forums meetings, by adopting the USP standard, adopting the 369 standards, we can have built a standard Fritz product which can communicate with you name it systems
Yeah,
in the outside world.
that's actually like a really good point that I think people miss is that like the standardization of those interfaces allows you to continue to have the stuff that you do well on the other side, right? And even with the push to open source and like standardizing the underlying like low level APIs and stuff like that, it's like okay, you can, but you don't have to. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, and one very good example is, and if you look to what's happening in industry, and let's say we're talking about consumer products, so that's what we do. We have the Soho market and consumers, and that's how we're aiming. So we are not the big C or the big H. So we are aiming on that market segments. But that's more or less the case. So we have one task, and the task is moving a package as quick as possible from the outside world to the inside world. That's our task.
mhm. Right, right.
So packet accelerators are extremely important. Streams of from the outside world directly to the Wi-Fi world, because in most cases people are connected by using Wi-Fi, is extremely important. Um, so that's why you don't want have external firmware as a vendor in your product, which are looking into
No,
packages,
right, right. Because then
because
there's
that's
another layer of delay, right?
exactly that's exactly the problem. So and as we see in the European market, XGS PON is nowadays one of the standards. We're moving up to the new technologies, 25 gig fiber, 50 gig fiber, and even I heard already people talking about 100 gig fiber connections. We still have to build a router which is capable to handle those packages and can
Yeah.
distribute it
Fine.
into the
I'm
whole
not gonna
network.
go. Is this the show where I rant about broadband speeds?
It's I think it's mainly driven by the guys in the core networks. Let's say
Mm,
we are on the other side. We are the CPE vendors. So, but we have to following what the core people are building or offering to the markets.
right.
And so when there is a company say, you can order now my 100 gig, and well, we don't have CPE, then we have a problem. We're still a commercial company, so they are driving those technologies.
It's like
And I think
I would like to challenge everybody right now because I understand that point, right? So like they're offering it and the connections are there. Does do the operator customers ask for it as a result of that? Or is it kind
I,
of just like an emperor's new clothes situation where everybody's
depends
doing it, so we have to do it?
this in fact is a very good question, because it depends on the country. If you look, just an example to the Netherlands, we have, let's make it easy. We have four big companies. Let's say one Ziggo, using DOCSIS technology, mainly DOCSIS technology, KPN, moving completely from DSL technology to fiber technology. Then we have Odido fiber, and we have Delta. Those guys are fiber. Odido was more or less already present, but Delta is completely new here at the market. So how can you enter a market? So just shout and you can order at my at Delta is just an example, 4 gig line for the same price as you have to pay at one of the competitors. And the competitor said, shit, okay, but I can offer you 6 gigs for the same price. And so,
See,
and that's That's what
Man,
happened because those guys want to fill their networks. They want to, and they must fill their networks. They dig a lot of fiber in here in the ground in the Netherlands, but you need some customers who are paying those services.
yeah,
So and and if you compare to Germany, it's completely other way around. So there is I already we discussed this. So I was surprised that I saw it was last year. I was in Munich and there was on the train station an advertisement. You can order here 100 meg line. That's from one of the DSL providers in Germany. 100 meg, and you make adverse of that. That's history if you compare Netherlands to Germany. So we are starting more or less at 1 gig, and so we
yeah,
don't talk
yeah,
about the 100 MB stuff. We are the gigabit stuff.
right.
Do I need it? Nope. Do you need it? Nope.
No. Well, so that's but and again, and here I am. I don't want to get like super redundant about the number of times that I have said this on this show, but this is the stuff we deal with, right? Where it's like I challenge anyone right now, right? And this is I'm going to put this out there. Anyone who is listening, and that's good because my audience is 0.1% of the network consumer population, right? It's us, right? So maybe they will actually have a skewed opinion that might come up against what I'm about to say. I challenge anyone listening right now, write in the comments if you have, like, let's say you have 300 megs right now, or even 100, if you have ever experienced poor quality service because of that speed. Now, I'm challenging the people who know what they're talking about to answer me because I want you to tell me if it was because of the speed or not. And you know what I mean,
Good question.
right?
And I think we both know the answer.
If you've ever tried to run some application where
Yeah,
300 meg didn't cut it, let me know. You let me know right now.
correct. That's exactly the case we see. And but as a matter of fact, we had this in if you look to the COVID times, uh, people with asymmetrical speeds. So let's say 100 meg down and just a couple of meg up. That might be an issue. So you need. My personal opinion is
Oh, the upstream definitely makes a difference.
the upstream exactly. The upstream you need at least 100 meg. Then you're
Yeah.
then you're fine.
Which
Because
was not
everything
always the case, but now,
exactly
yeah,
in the
yeah,
COVID. That what we learned from COVID times because everyone was working at home and do all the stuff at home and shit. Then it worked always worked. But now we completely at home, and then we saw hmm, the upstream is a little bit nah, not so
yeah.
efficient.
No, no, and not to throw us under the bus here,
Yeah.
but our upstream speed at the office is not great. Like if I'm processing videos, I go home.
You haven't doxes probably
I have fiber actually. Yeah.
at home, but at the office.
Oh, here at the office we do. Yeah, it's
Ah,
Doxus. Yes.
okay, problem
How did
solved.
you know? Yeah.
US.
Anyway, so
Yeah,
that is absolutely the world we live in, and I like how you're saying how country dependent it is, and how even individual European countries are vastly different, right? Because you guys are touching all of them, right? More or less.
yeah. Well, let's say that the countries we're working on. Let me explain a little bit about the business model we're using at Fritz. So we
Mhm.
have nowadays 3 channels. Let's start at the provider sales channel. That's where I'm working for. It's very easy. We ship our products to the internet service providers in the European market, and they use it for their services to a customer. That's one channel. The second channel we have is the consumer channel. In this case, the people are go to shop, web shop, or brick shop, see a Fritz box there, grab it, connect it at home, works fine. That's the second channel. And we started last year. The third channel is a D2C channel, so we have our own web shop, and people can buy products directly from Fritz.
Cool.
So
Cool.
we have all the 3.
Are we allowed to
Um,
buy them internationally? Because I know Lincoln really wants it.
Yeah, I know. So, but again, we're not on in US, and so but anyway, we ship, and Lincoln has his own sources to get the stuff. But Anyway, but the interesting part is that we're shipping to all of those three channels exactly the same product.
Mhm.
So an internet service provider buys a Fritz box. Given an example, the 7690 is one of the current models. The channel has at the media market, is one of the examples in the European market, has a Fritzbox 7690, and the D2C shop has exactly the same Fritzbox 7619, and it's all the same. So there's no difference
Cool.
in hardware and in software. It's exactly the same. So what we do, if you look to the provider market, we can use or adapt to a situation to the international service provider market by technology. We can, let's say, adapt the product by using a configuration file. The software is the same. Where you just using a config file, you adapt the config file, works. Or we can use provisioning systems like we talked about legacy stuff like TR69 and modern stuff like USB and all those stuff. And if you look to one of the providers in the Netherlands, exactly, it's a very interesting story. So they made a decision that they treat every box exactly the same as it is their own box. So if you are at a retail shop, you buy a Fritz box connected to this type of provider. It will automatically provisioning, and it's very easy because then it's provisioned with the phone number. Because this is always a
Right.
nightmare for end customers to use the SIP credentials. Where's my password? I forgot it. Oh shit, where it is. So in this case, this provider made the decision. We will provision the box, and I don't care where this box is coming from. We trust Fritz, so we know that they are building great stuff and do everything right and don't harm our core network. So I don't care when it's a Fritz box. We push the phone numbers when it's an official line.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and this makes it very easy, and so that's why there is no difference between those three market segments. If you look, particularly in this, and there are more countries doing it exactly the same way. Um, and that's one of the topics we have in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Belgium, and partly in Austria, partly in Italy. You have free router. You can use your own router as an end customer.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. And that's also what we see as important, that the end customer make a decision. Maybe, just maybe, he is happy with the router delivered by the internet service provider. Fine with me. Go with that. We
Do the
will.
ISPs charge like in the US, they charge like another $5 a month for their
Depends
router.
again on the country. Some countries do, and other countries don't. So, and it you don't see it, but it's in the price, of course. So,
Right.
you have to buy a router. I don't state any pricing, but let's say it anyway. Let's make it very easy. They have to buy a router €100, and they have to split the euro €100 about the contract and so on. So how you will pay those router as an end customer anyway. So we have here in the Netherlands provider. They say, one moment. Sorry, wrong button. I had to use mood. They say, okay, if you bring your own router, dear end customer, you have a rebate of €2.50 every month on your subscription. So they use it other way around, and this is very good. So because they ship by themselves a Fritz box, right? So it is a Fritz box provider. But they give you a rebate of €2.50 if if you bring your own router, and they don't
Right.
care. All right, so and that's exactly the case. And what we had in the past is, and that already touched this topic, that you saw some providers are um, complaining at the regulators. Yeah, you can't do this because it's not secure and whatsoever and so on. And we have some research institutes, several runs, and they say, and exactly what I say, there is no difference.
Mhm.
Compare a router directly shipped by the internet service provider, or compare a router shipped by the end customer. And why isn't there a difference? Because the market will kill us, really. We are using retail market if we bring crappy products into retail market. So you know
Yeah.
what the press will
Well, but
handle.
I mean, that's really are the consumers aware enough
Yeah.
to have that feedback occur? You know,
Let,
or
let, us say
are
this
they
way.
going to buy a $30 router company that shall not be named and try to plug it into their thing, and then their service sucks and they complain about it, and because it's not something that the operator can configure because it probably doesn't support USB or whatever, then they also can't support you on it. And like it's just many layers. It's almost to the point where, like, how I was saying that the in the US there was a lot of ISPs that charge for their router. I don't even know if they do it anymore because
Mhm,
I have changed operators
mhm.
in a long time. But like uh I feel like you really I feel like it's in the best interest of the operator for them to be using the one that they give them. Right. So like why
Uh,
you would charge for it, I have no idea. It's
yeah, but let's say this way: if you look to the again, if you look to see the percentages of usage of own routers depends exactly on the business model of the ISP. When he's charging you every month for, you see it on your invoice, he's charging you, just an example, €6 per month for users of the router. In most cases, is between 4 and €8, more or less. That's what they do. Um, that's a lot of money. And you see it on your invoice. So you go to a
Mhm.
retail shop, you buy a router once, you install it, problem solved. Let's say that some people think so. And the other reason is that if you, this is the most ISP. So imagine you are working at home alone. So just Jason, no family, not so ever. So, and you have more than enough a very simple router with one Ethernet plug and Wi-Fi 7. Leave me alone. No phone whatsoever. Go away. That's enough. You're happy. Imagine you have a small office working 10, 15 people. You need a little bit more of Wi-Fi, 2.4, 5, 6 gigahertz band. You need a little bit more of ports. You need a little bit more of phone capabilities, and so on. So there is a difference. But
Mhm.
if you look what the most of the ISPs are doing, they ship you exactly the same router, and they don't care. Are you alone, or
Yeah.
are you a big family, or your small office? The most I'm general making general. As it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not don't shoot me, but that's mostly the case. So they ship to every. Let's stuck to end customers, consumers. They don't care. They don't have knowledge at all. Is this a big house, small house, one family, one man alone, or with 6, 7, 8 kids? They don't know. But they
Or
ship you
should they
always
have
this.
to?
Yeah,
Like,
because they always ship you the same router. You know what I
right,
mean? So
right.
and that's why we think, and I think as a person as well, um, I will decide. I decide what I'll use at home.
Yeah,
So I need a line, I need a good quality, I need those services, but the home is my home, and I decide what I need in my home with kind of technology. That's my
right.
personal Eric Van Uden opinion. So
No, but that's what I mean. Like, and that's why I say, and I've brought this up in standards meetings before too, right? Because people will be like, yeah, well, what about this use case and this use case? And I'm like, listen, you and I, we are not the target market.
correct. That's exactly the case, and even that's always a problem. If you um, that's why I like that we have the retail market, because we have the retail market, we are informed, we hear what's happening. So what is relevant by a real end customer,
Mhm.
and all
Oh,
those meetings.
that's a good point.
Yeah, and all those meetings we have, let's say we do broadband forum meetings, and so we have the opinion of the internet service providers. So they know, so what they do, they think it's important for them to have
Right.
that, the story. And okay, people can shoot me, lower the capex. That's most case of and have a very low opex, and yeah, that's their goal. And it's great because it's commercial companies, all of them.
Right.
I have no problem with that. Don't misunderstand me, but you need as well the input from the real end customer, the real user of products, and they say, yes, I like to have a smart home, or I don't. Yes, I like to have Wi-Fi, or don't. Yes, I like to have voice, or don't, and all those servers in a NAS environment and all the stuff. It's partly sorry, huh? Partly because we think that's important for the end customers, and the second point is that the end customer are informing us because we have those customers in our
It's really
knowledge.
cool. That's really cool. That actually solves like I've talked about this on the show before about how what I love about retail about residential broadband, right? As an industry is that we're at this weird clash between like consumer electronics and toys and a utility, right?
Yeah,
And so that's cool because you guys end up actually seeing the information for both sides, which not for nothing. That's why I value your opinion on things. But like I like being involved in that because I think it's really important because I think at the end of the day, like and again, this comes back to the whole speed competition thing and all this. It's like and like this the stuff that we've done surveys on, the whole push towards, services like broadband and all this is about what the human beings actually experience.
correct.
You know, what do they actually want? What are they actually doing? What do they think about? Do they think about their router once they bought it? Do they be like, oh yeah, I need a new microwave. I need a new router, like
Yeah, and again, is this and sorry for this, but this is exactly a situation. Another example in private. My mother is over 80 years old, and of course, she has a Fritz box at home. Um, can she handle a Fritz box? No, forget it. Uh, but she likes to have convenient environment. So this means that the lights are automatically switched on and off. She needs that uh, electrical blanket is switch on, switch off, completely automatic. She wants me and my brother that we can switch it on, switch it off remotely. Let's say this way. That's what my mother likes. And this is a situation. There are a lot of mothers, if you know what I mean, in the world. So they are exactly the same. They have no clue at all. So they are users. They use a tablet for the internet technology. They are completely away from PCs or whatsoever or the mobiles. Um, but
oh
they
yeah,
use it, and so they are using those the stuff we built. And you have always, and exactly you already mentioned it. So we are not the users as we as in the group. So we are a little bit too far away from a real user.
right,
Say it nice.
right.
Say it nice. But again, this is always relevant that you have a look and listen to what's happening. And it goes in both directions. So first of all, of course, what we do as from Fritz, we talk with the chip vendors. We don't build our own chips, so we need to have chips from the chip vendors. So one part of what we build and our future stuff is coming from what a chip vendor is thinking and delivering to the industry. That's one part. And the second part is what we just discussed, is what the end customers wants to have. We put it in a product, we call it the Fritz box. That's exactly what we do. So and nowadays, if you look to the um, geopolitical situation, um, becomes more and more important as well in consumer products. Because if you look to the past, no one cares. I have an Ethernet line, DSL line, and okay, it works fine. Um, and now we're popping up, and that's what we do, of course. Um, we have second for years already. Um, a second how do you say it? A second interface. In this case, it can be 4G, 5G, or
Right.
in the
Yeah.
router you can use the second. When you have DOCSIS and fiber optics, okay, let the router make the decision. Okay, the DOCSIS is not there, then we use the fiber. The fiber is not there. Okay, switch over to the DOCSIS. This is normal and stuff if you look to enterprise stuff and more, but now it's entering the consumer market, um, and all the stuff. I had last week I got an request from information. Are you using batteries in a Fritz box? So when a power cut is there, then you can still have internet No, I don't. There is a lot of external stuff connected to the standard interface, and you're there.
Right.
But I always think all the way around. Okay, now the press is asking for those stuff. You know what's happening? So the market is
Yeah.
making thoughts about what's happening, and should I have a battery backup for my internet connection? And making the story complete, let's always say um, people are shouting about cloud. Well, we have everything in the cloud, so we are now more or less okay. Great. Yeah, there's no need that you have your server environment. We use cloud. Everything runs in the cloud. Great. Now we're entering our industry again. The cloud. I need a connection to a cloud. Are you aware of
Right.
that?
Yeah.
Question
You remember that
mark.
lasted like 5 seconds? Yeah.
Are you aware of that? Let's say this way. And then people say, and it's actually in the smart home solutions. If you, we made a decision really for this case, so we can control our smart home at home, of course, even without an internet connection. But a lot of
Mhm.
vendors made the decision you need an internet connection, otherwise you can't switch on or switch off your lights.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
And I would
nuts?
say that's in the majority of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Are you
Yeah.
nuts? So we run it in the Fritz box. So this makes us different if you compare it
Mhm.
to a lot of other vendors. So we do it in our router, the CPE. It's our integrated home access device. You name it. It's everything in the box.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need an outside line if we want to have internet connectivity. But if the internet connectivity is broken, whatsoever, we can run it. And,
Yeah.
and
No.
that
And,
that's
and it,
makes.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have a dream that I've mentioned many times about because when I was talking about consumers caring about their router like they care about their microwave, like for the longest time that's not been the case, right? It's just kind of a thing. They let it sit there, they don't know what it does. But having them understand as things go more towards that direction where it is now a technology service box, right?
True.
Which conveniently, because all technology now is almost all of it is over IP in some capacity, is it really is the hub of all the communication, and so therefore it's the hub of all the technology, and therefore it should be probably something that people pay more attention to, or even get to the point where are more conscious of it as a thing like their TV, right?
Yeah.
And I really think that that's the way that things are going. I mean, part of it is just because I like this technology and I think it would be cool if
Mhm.
people think about that more. But that's exactly the right point, right? It's like it's the box that's doing it. In those scenarios, it's the box that's doing it. It's not just this thing that the provider installed on your wall, right?
But that's exactly the point, and that's what we're working on, and it's not easy because I already mentioned it. So we built one software, one box for the complete business channel. Um, but we have exactly that's what we're working on. We have exactly the same approach that we try to even how to bring a customer online when it's our own route without using a PC. As already said, most of the people aren't using a PC anymore, but you have to bring them online. Um, so that's where we are focusing on, and to make using apps running on mobile phones, Android or Apple devices, iOS, um, to bring those customers online, even if they don't have a PC and just have a tablet or whatsoever.
No, and I imagine that's not. I mean, I'm just thinking about it, and like I
Yeah,
imagine that's not even the norm anymore. Like the number of times the number of times I use a laptop at home is really only if I'm doing work.
yeah, that's exactly the case.
Yeah.
If you look, yeah, that's exactly the case. You have to look and to compare it to the common end user, not we tech idiots, but the common normal standard end user. So they don't use a laptop. If and I see exactly the same again. So my wife, she has a laptop. Like, she don't use it anymore because she has her tablet. And she said,
Yeah.
"Why do I need a laptop? There's no need
Hmm.
for that."
Honestly, the only other time I use it is when I know that somebody's website is going to be easier to use in a regular
Yeah, yeah,
browser
okay,
than,
yeah, yeah,
you
but
know.
but
But that's only because it's their website sucks. It's not because.
correct. And with all those, and Jason, and now becomes interesting. With all those, let's say, things were happening around us, we as a vendor or we as an industry, but we as well as a vendor, we have to think about that, and we have to adapt um, those movements in a private household, what's happening into the industry. So, um, and that's why I think automation of processes, that's what we do together, is it's becomes more and more important.
Yeah.
So you can't, how do you say it nice? You can't expect that an end customer will configure his router on from layer 1 to layer 3, 4. It should be completely done automatically. So
Completely, right? Yeah.
choosing a technology, let's say it on fiber, do I have XCS PON? Most of the cases he don't know. It's not relevant. It should be not relevant. No, don't make
Should
mistake.
be not relevant.
Shouldn't be
Yeah.
relevant. Exactly. And the second stuff is okay. Okay, let's get in line. What do I use? Using BBP or using the HTTP?
I
I can't
remember
explain.
having to do that by hand.
I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
explain this to my mother
The
again or
whole
to my
reason
wife.
TR69, the whole reason TR69 was made was because they were shipping CD-ROMs
Yeah, correct.
to do the configuration.
That's what we did. That's how we started more or less as well. But we said, this is killing. This is the right approach. And that's why we started TR69 in the past. So that's more or less
Hmm.
exactly one of the reasons. So for all the layers, don't bother the end customer.
At all.
Connected to the wall, switch it on, should work. We're not there as an industry, not
Which
as
I find
Fritzbox.
amazing that we're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. But it's complicated because let's say this way. It all has to do with price. If you buy, if let's say this way, it's theoretically possible to build a router with DOCSIS, fiber, and DSL. We can do that. You can afford it because then will the price
Oh,
for
yeah.
it and certifying
Right.
will around 500 euros. It's
Yeah.
way too expensive.
Right.
So
Right.
even a combination product we have with DSL and fiber raise a lot of question marks. Why do I have to pay for my fiber line? I only have DSL, or the way around. Why I have to pay for DSL? Only have fiber. So those two. Um, so and even for ISPs who are, we all mentioned it, CAPEX, they don't want to buy those expensive products. They want to have.
I would want to buy those.
I know. That's what I have at home. So let's say this way. But anyway, and so this always makes it complicated how you adapt products to a particular market, and that's it's always a battle between have it all and affordable pricing, and the third option is already discussed several times to make it automatically. So don't bother the end user. Most cases he's not aware. It should be simple. It should be easy to connect on all layers, layer 1 up to layer 3, 4.
Yeah.
The
It's so
higher layers are not in the routing. But anyway, that's my vision, and it's also the vision of what we see as the vendor.
yeah. Well, I mean, I tag you for this stuff because you're just as passionate about it as I am, if not more so. How on earth did you get into doing this? I always ask that question of like every guest I have because usually it's like totally by accident. But I don't think you and I have ever had that conversation.
I started at the company, that time it was still AVM, and I worked for a system integrator in the Netherlands. It's called ICL. And the story is interesting. And we were looking as a system integrator to mobile data solutions. I'm talking about middle of the 90s or 97, 98, or end of the 90s, that case. So mobile data solutions. So there was and therefore we already had to make a decision. Okay, we want to run out make an installation as a system integrator for remote offices, and there was a lease line, very expensive, and we said ISDN is more than enough. So then we made the decision. Okay, we compared several vendors, and the good thing was at that time that AVM, called at that time, was capable to have hardware and software. So they have their multi-protocol router from Novell product with the ISDN controls. Okay, this is the fitting solution. That's that. So I started with that, and then we came up. Okay, the next step is mobile data solution, because we had a lot of mobile customers, and there was packet switch networks. As you know, you can't work a telnet session on a packet switch network. Forget it. So that is not possible at all. And again, AVM had at that time solutions for that. So there was a congress in the Netherlands about mobile data, and there was a guy from the Dutch police say, it doesn't work at all. And I stood up. I said, hey, guy, are you aware of what we do? Because I know what you are using. This won't work. We have something. It will work. That won't work. And then I was called by one of the mobile operators in the Netherlands, and he said, Eric, because I know him and he knows me. Is this true? Yeah, I'm not an idiot. I don't make a lot of noise with 200 people, and that's not true. It's true. Okay, next day you are main office. Oh shit. Okay, I had to prove our solution with AVM, with AVM. So my mouth was a little bit too big. And with that, we have the completely Dutch police for mobile data solution with AVM solutions. So we had all the boats, all the cars, everything, and that was my entry door to AVM. So I started to sell and to. I'm always technical, so I'm not completely 100% sales guy. But
Were
I
you were
started.
you were you CS in university, or were you
No,
computer
I
science?
did. In Netherlands, we called HTS, is a higher technical school. And my background is on data communications, so
Cool.
transmissions, so really old stuff, Fourier Laplace analysis on signaling handling and
Yeah,
all those stuff. That's my background.
that's cool.
Um, Building operating systems, let's say how to build a Linux system. That's more or less the case. That's my background.
Cool.
That's what I studied, and that's why I
And
put on.
if it was, in the 90s, it was very, very
It
different.
was it was in the 90s, so that was my
Yeah.
background, and then moved over to AVM, and again always doing special products. I'm still running a special products for in resilience environment. Let's say I like it and it is interesting. And that's what I did is to the special product with TR471, this whole open broadband UDP-ST speed
Oh,
test
yeah.
stuff.
Which I'm
So
going to talk about a lot more in the next couple of
yeah,
months, by
I
the way.
hope so. So and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's exactly that's how I got in the industry. A few years ago, I made a decision that um, I didn't like the 100% sales. Let's say nice, um, because I did a lot of external meetings on technologies, and I see myself. I like more the technology. Yes, I'm always aware that we are all commercial, so we have to make
Yeah.
money. Don't
Right.
misunderstand me, but I like the technologies, and
No, but
that's my
see,
role.
that's exactly me too, right? And I think that it's unique. It's unfortunately unique because we need more people who cross that bridge, you know?
Mm, mm.
Um, because you're right. At the end of the day, I do this because I do love the technology, right? And I get excited about it. And that's why we do open our big mouths and get in
Yeah,
trouble.
yeah, yeah. We are in the same category. I
Which is
must
exactly why
that the
that's why
people.
I'm sitting here, because I was 25
Uh,
and a grad
uh,
student and opened my
uh,
big mouth.
Yeah, that's exactly where the problem we have both. So we can't. Yeah, but anyway, you can't. How do you say it? Nice. I think it makes us both happy. Let's say
It does.
that we
100%.
are um, on the interface between commercial and technologies, so that we are aware that, as already said several times, we are a commercial company. We're a commercial company, and by the end, we have to make the company have to make money. We have to sell our products into a market. We use technology to to have a position in those markets, so that we are not a common company, but we are aware of what we're doing, and we are in front of the industry. That's why we both are active within the broadband forum, and do our things. It all has its reasons.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, it costs a lot of time. Yes, it costs money. But if you look to what we do for the internet industry, it's relevant for the companies, but also for the industry in general. So
It
more,
is. It is.
you a little bit more than I, but anyway, don't misunderstand. That's why it's so important that we have those meetings, and that's why it's so important that we try to bring companies further and to help other companies and so on. And that's why we talk to other vendors as well. And
Right.
so
Right.
sometimes we are competitors and we kill each other. But if you're talking about standards, it's relevant that we have together discuss those
Right.
things.
Right. Right. Totally. Totally. And it's I it's often hard to explain to people why it is that A, why I like doing that, and B, how it ends up being relevant to even QA Cafe at the end of the day, right? It's actually not a little bit more clear of a pipeline for us because we're like, oh, okay, we help make the test spec and then you'll use CD Router to test it, right? That's very clear. But even still, it's like I've been doing this for a long time. And I value every day the fact that I get to do that while working here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're repeating ourselves, but exactly that is it. Um, Doing relevant stuff and have fun. From my point of view, those elements are important. So
Yeah.
I hate the, how do you say it nice? Sometimes it's necessary. Don't misunderstand me, but I hate all the contract stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
I do.
we're so legal. Okay, but
Yes.
you can't tell about because otherwise, yeah,
Yeah.
and so on. So that's not my. You don't make me happy. I have to sometimes, and you have
Oh,
probably exactly the
I will
same.
not be shy about the fact that I sincerely believe, and this opinion does not reflect those of QA Cafe or Fritz, by the way.
Fritz, thank you,
Very
thank
clearly
you,
not Fritz's
thank you,
opinion.
thank you.
Very not
It's
clear.
my personal opinion, my Eric Van Uden opinion. Correct.
It is my very passionate personal opinion that if we all fired all the lawyers, then we would all have much easier lives.
Uh, I just and I think as well, but and this is one of the problems that we saw, and I don't know in the U.S. situation, but if you look to European situation, um, sometimes and you're delivering to governments, you have to run to an aanbesteding. Let's say, and that means that you have to deliver, and I did it several times, at least several centimeters of paper. Let's say this way, about the bank relations, about your how your people are built, and all those stuff and all those elements, and all the way. And then they say, yeah, but I see that you are you're not. Just an example, just my opinion. Again, as an example, you only have three women in the in the, how you say it, in the management, and should be four. So you have to, how do you say it, wipe you out. You are not allowed to deliver. That's just an example.
Yeah, yeah,
This happening, and then I say, okay, this, but maybe you have the best product they can imagine
yeah.
as a company. It's in general, so maybe you have absolutely the best. And I think what happened nowadays, that we as a complete industry, or people are a little bit aware. Okay, of course, yeah, it's important that you don't use companies who um, are financed by criminal money. Let's say, okay, don't misunderstand me.
Right,
That's
right, right, right,
absolutely no go area. But so it is
right.
absolutely okay that we have some. But sometimes it goes a little bit in the wrong direction. Saying it this way,
Yeah,
my
no, it's
personal
true.
Eric Van Uden opinion.
Yeah, it's so many layers. We could do an entire show on this.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, so that's a really good segue to how I usually end the show, though. Um, it's it's that I do this because it's fun, right? And I think it's very important to do so. So thank you for doing this. And I, I'm sure I will have you on the show at literally any time, and I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, anyways.
Yeah, but and I will a little bit more. How to say it nice. Shut my mouth.
No,
More.
no,
No.
that's why I ask you to do what you do, because you don't shut your mouth.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Message
Thanks
understood.
everybody
Thank you.
for listening.
Yeah.
Please do hit subscribe on this. Welcome to the new year. Please do hit subscribe on this. Like this video. Do comment on it. I know I sent out that little challenge in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about how these things work, and above all, own the nerdy things that you love and have fun doing them. Thanks, Eric.